Hey, welcome to a new video. Kohl's motorcycle graveyard in Lockport, New York is famous for its striking collection of abandoned motorbikes. This unique site was founded by Walter Kohl, a passionate motorcycle enthusiast who spent nearly 50 years buying and selling vintage motorcycle parts. His collection included a wide array of bikes, from Harley-Davidsons to British and Japanese models, forming a true treasure trove for motorcycle fans. The motorcycles were housed in a dilapidated 4-story building along the Erie Canal. Over the years, the structure became increasingly unstable, eventually raising safety concerns and drawing condemnation from the city of Lockport. After Walter Kohl's death in 2002, the building further deteriorated, and the city took ownership of both the property and its contents. Recent reports confirm that all the motorcycles have since been removed, and the building is now officially under municipal control. As for the future, some fear the building will simply remain until it eventually collapses. Today, the site has become a hotspot for urban explorers and fans of abandoned places rich with history and mystery.
Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video.
The ship graveyard of Nouadhibou, located in the bay of the same name in Mauritania, is considered the largest ship graveyard in the world. Hundreds of rusting and abandoned vessels are scattered along the coastline and in the surrounding waters. Nouadhibou, Mauritania's second-largest city and a major trading hub, earned this reputation through a mix of financial hardship and lenient regulations. In the late 20th century, the government allowed ship owners to abandon their vessels in the bay for a small fee. This led to a flood of derelict ships, from fishing boats to massive cargo freighters. The result is a haunting, surreal landscape where rusting wrecks stretch as far as the eye can see. For some locals, the graveyard became a source of income, thanks to salvaging reusable materials. At the same time, serious concerns grew over its environmental impact, as the wrecks pollute the marine ecosystem. Today, the area is permanently closed to visitors. Despite cleanup efforts being reported, Nouadhibou still holds the title of the world's largest ship graveyard. Kuwait was once home to the world's largest tire graveyard, located in the Sulaibiya area just outside Kuwait City. This colossal site contained over 50 million discarded car tires, a problem so vast it could be seen from space. Over 2 decades, the tire mountain grew into an infamous location, both visually striking and ecologically disastrous. Tires are extremely flammable, and fires at the site were a constant threat. One of the most notorious incidents occurred on April 17, 2021, when a massive blaze erupted, sending thick black smoke into the sky, visible even from orbit. These fires released toxic pollutants, compounding the environmental damage. In recent years, Kuwait launched a large-scale government project to tackle the crisis by removing and recycling millions of tires. By September 2021, more than 42 million had already been cleared, and the land was earmarked for new developments, including plans to build 25,000 homes. The recycling process transforms old tires into usable materials for construction, turning an environmental disaster into an opportunity for sustainable development. In Merstham, Surrey, England, lies a unique graveyard for abandoned phone booths. Around 70 iconic red British telephone boxes, designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, stand rusting and decaying, silent relics of a bygone era. Once, over 73,000 of these distinctive kiosks dotted the streets of Britain, especially during the 1980s. But with the rise of mobile phones and changing communication technology, they gradually fell out of use. The largest still active graveyard for phone booths is managed by Unicorn Restorations, a company dedicated to restoring these cultural icons. In addition to storing discarded units, the site also serves as a repair workshop where these booths are given a second life. Many restored kiosks are repurposed as art installations, mini libraries, or tourist attractions. Through its efforts, the company aims to ensure that these pieces of British heritage are preserved rather than ending up in landfills. The train graveyard, locally known as Cementerio de Trenes, lies on the outskirts of Uyuni, a small town in Bolivia. This open-air site is filled with rusting steam locomotives and train cars, remnants of Bolivia's golden age of railroads in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. During that time, the country experienced a mining boom, and rail lines were built to transport valuable minerals like silver and tin from the Andes to the Pacific coast. Uyuni served as a key hub along these routes. But when the mining industry collapsed, the railway system also fell into disuse. Left behind after their final journeys, the trains slowly began to decay in the barren landscape. The salty air from the nearby Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, accelerated the corrosion. Today, the site functions as an open-air museum with no official entry fees or hours. Visitors are free to wander among the skeletal remains of the locomotives. Some have even been turned into makeshift art pieces, adding a creative touch to the eerie atmosphere. Old Car City, USA, located in White, Georgia, is known as the world's largest classic car graveyard. Spanning 14 acres, the site blends nostalgia with nature. More than 4,000 vintage American cars are slowly decaying among the trees. Photographers often call it a paradise. Moss-covered rusting cars and trees growing through hoods create an almost magical portrait of decay and memory. Old Car City began in 1931 as a humble local store and has remained in the same family ever since. Today, owner Walter Dean Lewis has transformed it into a living museum that celebrates decay as an art form and a time capsule full of stories. Visitors can wander endlessly through labyrinthine paths of forgotten automobiles, each with its own unique past. The gift shop sells colorful folk art, handmade by the Lewis family. Old Car City is more than a junkyard. It's a cultural phenomenon where America's automotive history is naturally preserved and admired. The Machinery Scrapyard in Benavente, Spain, is a major hub for recycling agricultural and industrial equipment. Located in the northwest of the country, this expansive facility is operated by T. Casquero, a company that has been trading machinery parts since 1977. Spanning 143 square miles, or 230 square kilometers, the yard specializes in dismantling and recycling heavy machinery, such as tractors, excavators, and earth-moving equipment. It's a treasure trove for enthusiasts and professionals looking for well-preserved parts or entire machines. Buyers even come from countries like Ireland, where Spain's dry climate helps preserve tractor cabs in surprisingly good condition. Most parts show only minor cosmetic wear, like faded paint from sun exposure. Among the hundreds of machines, collectors sometimes find rare gems, like the 1970s Terex 8250 bulldozer powered by a rugged Detroit diesel engine. You'll also come across models like the Case 580F backhoe loader, or a series of O and K excavators, some still fully functional, others partially stripped for parts. The Amari Pilot Cemetery in northern Estonia is a haunting memorial to Soviet pilots who died during the occupation of the country. Instead of traditional headstones, the graves here are marked with tail fins from military aircraft, usually taken from Russian planes, creating a surreal and poignant atmosphere. The cemetery was established between 1945 and 1991, when the Amari base, then known as Surkala, served as a strategic launch point for heavy bombers. Many of the pilots buried here died in crashes or accidents while on duty, and the cemetery itself was built over a former war burial ground. After the fall of the Soviet Union and Estonia's regained independence, the site was no longer used but was preserved as a historical landmark. Hidden in a quiet forest, the Amari Pilot Cemetery functions as both a memorial and a Cold War relic. The plane tails jutting from the earth give the illusion that full aircraft are buried beneath the canopy, drawing visitors captivated by the site's visual impact and powerful historical symbolism. The Volkswagen Graveyard in Victorville, California is one of the most striking symbols of the aftermath of the Volkswagen diesel emissions scandal, better known as Dieselgate. Located at the Southern California Logistics Airport, this site became one of 37 storage locations across the U.S., where Volkswagen kept hundreds of thousands of recalled diesel vehicles. These cars were bought back after it was discovered they were equipped with software that manipulated emissions tests. The Victorville location, often referred to as a desert graveyard, spans 135 acres and contains endless rows of Volkswagens and Audis stretching as far as the eye can see. The vehicles were part of a massive buyback program for which Volkswagen spent over $7.4 billion to repurchase approximately 350,000 cars in the U.S. They were stored here while awaiting decisions on whether they would be repaired, resold, or destroyed. The scandal broke when it was revealed that Volkswagen used cheat software to display lower emissions during testing. As part of the settlement, the company was required to fix or buy back the affected cars. By late 2019, many of the vehicles had been repaired or scrapped, but thousands remained in storage for years. The Arthur Killship Graveyard, also known as the Staten Island Boat Graveyard, is a maritime scrapyard located along the Arthur Kill Waterway in Rossville, Staten Island, New York City. This eerie and fascinating site is the final resting place of countless rusted shipwrecks, including tugboats, barges, and work vessels. Also referred to as the Witte Marine Scrapyard or the Tugboat Graveyard, It has become a popular destination for urban explorers, photographers, and history enthusiasts. The graveyard began shortly after World War II, when the company White Marine Equipment started acquiring outdated and abandoned ships to be dismantled. Over the decades, it grew into one of the largest maritime scrapyards on the U.S. East Coast. At its peak, around 200 vessels were stored here. Today, fewer than 25 remain, as many have been stripped for parts or completely decayed. The ships range from tugboats and fishing boats to military craft, all scattered along the swampy shoreline. They tell the story of New York's maritime heritage and the decline of entire industries. Often described as a watery grave for historic ships, it's a resting place for the metal skeletons of the past. Liberty Street was a proposed expansion for Disneyland in the 1950s. It was envisioned as a patriotic-themed area located behind the east side of Main Street, USA. The plans for Liberty Street were announced by Walt Disney in 1956, just 1 year after Disneyland opened. The concept for Liberty Street included attractions such as the Hall of Presidents, which would feature mannequins representing the American presidents of that time. Despite its cancellation, the idea and concepts for Liberty Street had a lasting impact on Disney parks. A significant influence can be seen in Liberty Square at Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World. Opened in 1971, Liberty Square captures the spirit of Walt's plans for Liberty Street and includes attractions like the Hall of Presidents. It's noteworthy that Liberty Street wasn't the only proposed expansion for the area between Main Street USA and Tomorrowland. Another proposed expansion was Edison Square, which would have been located parallel to Liberty Street.
The amusement park that has more than earned its spooky reputation is Lake Shawnee Amusement Park in Mercer County, West Virginia. It has a dark history and now appears eerily abandoned. The park opened in the 1920s and was owned by the Snitto family, who tragically lost 2 of their children on the premises. In the 1950s, the park was closed after a fatal accident where a boy was struck by a truck while playing on the swings. According to legend, the park was situated on the site of a Native American burial ground, with multiple graves on the property. The park's founder, Conley T. Snitto, reportedly disregarded warnings from local residents about the sacred nature of the land and proceeded to build the amusement park regardless. Furthermore, it's believed that the park has been the scene of many bloody conflicts between early European settlers and Native American tribes. Despite attempts to reopen the park, it remains abandoned, with the remaining attractions and structures in various stages of decay.
It's not certain how long we'll live on this planet, but it seems that it will take us hundreds or even thousands of years to fully explore the Earth. One such place that has never been fully explored is the Mariana Trench, located in the western Pacific Ocean. The Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean and is about 2,550 kilometers long and 69 kilometers wide. The incredible thing is that the maximum depth ever found in the Mariana Trench is almost 11 kilometers, so the very tallest mountain in the world could easily fit there. This place looks like no other place on the planet. The planet and animal species found there have never been seen by scientists before. As a matter of fact, it's understandable why researchers still cannot fully explore the trench. This is because it's too deep, so the water pressure is enormous. In addition, the water is also very hot in some places. Tomorrowland 2055 was a proposed update and makeover of Tomorrowland and Disneyland, coinciding with Disneyland's 100th anniversary. The concept was developed by Walt Disney Imagineering in the early 90s to reimagine the future-themed land and provide guests with a futuristic experience. The vision for Tomorrowland 2055 included a futuristic approach, featuring a population entirely composed of aliens. It was designed to incorporate a unique storyline and a variety of attractions, including a comedic musical show called Plectus, which would have been an audio animatronic experience. The plan would have also included the integration of the extraterrestrial alien encounter attraction, originally planned for the Magic Kingdom in Florida. The overarching concept for Tomorrowland 2055 revolved around the idea of an alien metropolis, blending elements of retrofuturism with a more extraterrestrial vibe. The design aimed to create a bustling spaceport-like atmosphere, giving guests the feeling of visiting a vibrant alien city filled with advanced tech. One of the flagship attractions was intended to be a thrilling, immersive experience, where guests would witness a live alien demonstration that goes awry. However, despite the ambitious plans and concepts, Tomorrow 2055 was ultimately scrapped and never realized.
Step into the wondrous world of the abandoned Land of Oz theme park on Beach Mountain, North Carolina. This amusement park opened its doors in 1970 and was inspired by L. Frank Baum's classic children's book, The Wizard of Oz. It was domed with costumes, dramatic sets, and themed attractions. After 10 years, the amusement park was forced to close its doors in 1980. Today, the amusement park has become a popular destination for people who come to enjoy its eerie remains. In recent years, plans have been set in motion to refurbish and restore the amusement park to its former glory. While it still remains in decay, there is hope that one day the Land of Oz theme park will once again welcome visitors into its magical world. But until that day comes, visitors can stroll along the yellow brick road, peek into the abandoned Emerald City, and gaze up at the Wicked Witch's castle. The former grandeur and fantasy of the amusement park are still visible in the beautiful structures and colorful facades that remain, enticing visitors with the promise of what once was.
Disney's Pop Century Resort is a value-priced resort at the Walt Disney World Resort in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. It opened on December 14, 2003, and is themed around 20th century American pop culture. Initially, the plans for the resort included two sections, the Classic Years and the Legendary Years. The Classic Years section, which opened in 2003, features buildings themed to pop culture of each decade from the 1950s to the 1990s. The resort was set to have a total of 5,760 rooms, equivalent to the combined room capacity of all three All-Star resorts. These rooms were planned to be spread across 20 buildings, with the resort opening in two separate phases. Inspired by the successful concept of Disney's All-Star Resorts, the theme of the new resort was brought to life through the use of larger-than-life decorations, rather than just relying on intricate architectural designs. According to the press release, the resort aimed to take guests on a nostalgic journey through the American pop culture, with iconic symbols and imagery commemorating the various decades of the 20th century. In January 2001, Disney unveiled the concept art for the resort, showcasing not only the presence of colossal decorations, but also the inclusion of gigantic phrases that extended above the roof level, such as platform shoes. In 2010, the infrastructure originally intended for the Legendary Years section was repurposed into a new resort, called Disney's Art of Animation.
Miracle Strip Amusement Park, located in Panama City Beach, Florida, was a beloved attraction for both locals and tourists. However, after nearly 50 years, the amusement park had to close its doors. One of the notable features of Miracle Strip was its beachfront location, with the Gulf of Mexico serving as a stunning backdrop to the park's many attractions and rides. But the same waterfront that drew in so many visitors ultimately proved to be the downfall of the amusement park. Severe damage and flooding from Hurricane Opal in 1995 rendered it irreparable. While the park's abandonment makes it a popular destination for urban exploration, it's also a location that comes with danger and risks. The park has been the site of numerous accidents, and the aging structures can pose a serious threat to anyone who enters. Additionally, the amusement park is situated on private property and is even illegal to enter.
If you've ever wondered where the end of the world is, it could possibly be in northern Patagonia. This is because it's the southernmost country in the world. In fact, it's the largest ice field outside the polar region. Northern Patagonia is huge, over 1 million square kilometers, and less than 5% of Chile's and Argentina's population live there. The area has a lot of wildlife and almost no infrastructure, which makes it difficult to travel and explore. Patagonia is very close to the Earth's southern frozen frontier, and is a pit stop for researchers to Antarctica. Even as much as the glaciers in northern Patagonia are melting back, the total area of the glacier region is only 4,200 square kilometers. This also makes it the largest ice field outside the polar region. Dick Tracy's Crime Stoppers was a planned attraction based on Warren Beatty's 1990 film Dick Tracy, intended for the Sunset Boulevard section of Disney's Hollywood Studios. This attraction was expected to be a major success and the start of a new franchise for Disney. Imagineering was tasked with bringing the detective to the park. The proposed attraction would use the same enhanced motion vehicle tech featured in the Indiana Jones adventure and dinosaur attractions. It was to be suited in a large industrial warehouse, part of the 1920s Chicago-themed mini-area built around the attraction in Disney's Hollywood Studios. The attraction would feature a state-of-the-art ride system with vehicles capable of simulating high-speed chases and dramatic maneuvers. These vehicles, designed to look like 1930s police cars, would move along a track, while providing dynamic motion to enhance the feeling of a thrilling pursuit. Guests will be equipped with toy guns to shoot at their targets throughout the ride, similar to modern interactive attractions. The targets would represent various criminal elements and obstacles. The ride's narrative will follow Dick Tracy and the guests as they chase down iconic villains from the comic strip.
Let the sunset on the outskirts of Berlin mark the beginning of our journey to Spree Park. Once a thriving amusement park, now abandoned and neglected. This amusement park was once a beloved destination for thousands of visitors. It boasted a towering Ferris wheel, colorful attractions, and a charming fairy tale theme. Spree Park first opened its doors in 1969 and quickly became one of East Germany's most popular attractions. However, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the amusement park faced too many financial troubles and eventually teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. Spree Park was known for its wild and often controversial history, which began with its founder, Norbert Witt. Norbert was a businessman and a carnival operator who purchased the amusement park in 1991, following the fall of the Berlin Wall. His methods were often unconventional, and he reportedly added new attractions to the amusement park without proper safety inspections and permits. This led to several accidents and injuries over the years. In 1999, he fled to Peru with his family, intending to set up new attractions in Lima. However, the venture failed, and he was arrested for attempting to smuggle prohibited substances back into Germany.
Disney's Mediterranean Resort was a planned luxury resort for Walt Disney World in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. The resort was to be themed after a small Greek island and located on the shores of the Seven Seas Lagoon. It was intended to rival the luxury and price of the Grand Floridian Resort. The cancellation of this resort was due to several factors. One reason was the swampy nature of the ground at the proposed site, which would have made construction too expensive. Additionally, changes of the monorail route affected the original plans for the resort. The land intended for the resort was cleared to improve sightlines for the Walt Disney World monorail system. Although this Mediterranean resort was never realized, Walt Disney World offers luxury resorts with unique themes and luxurious accommodations. One example is Disney's Riviera Resort, which captures the magic of Europe in the Mediterranean.
The notorious Okpo Land theme park has gained a reputation as South Korea's worst amusement park and one of the worst attractions the country's ever seen. But what made the amusement park so terrible that it had to close in 1999? One of the biggest issues was the complete lack of attention to safety measures. Visitors reported unsafe rides with rusty and broken equipment. Even park inspectors had deemed some attractions as unsafe, but no one listened until tragedy struck in a tragic accident in 1995. A young girl lost her life after a fall from one of the rides, solidifying the amusement park's negative reputation. It was foreclosed upon, and all its assets were sold at an auction. That could have been the end of the story, but there's one small detail. The amusement park was never demolished. Instead, it has remained abandoned and decaying for over 2 decades. It's believed that it's better to never open the 7th door of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. The temple itself has always been a mystery to people all over the world. Many ancient legends and theories circulate about this holy place. Most ancient mystery texts strictly forbid opening the last door, the 7th. It's believed that the door is cursed, and if anyone ever opens this door, poisonous snakes will attack this person, and later this will cause a huge It's believed that the door is cursed, and if anyone ever opens the door, poisonous snakes will attack the person, and later this will cause a huge catastrophe on the whole earth. It seems that people believe the warnings, because no one has ever succeeded in opening the last door, although many attempts have been made. What do you think's in the room? Let me know in the comments. Get ready to be spooked at the Western Village Japan theme park, an abandoned amusement park located in the Fukushima prefecture of Japan. Because if there's anything scarier than a big amusement park, it's a park filled with thousands of dolls. This park once had a cowboy and a Western theme, complete with a haunted house and a Wild West town. But today, only the dolls remain, frozen in their eerie lifelike poses for over 10 years. The park was abandoned in 2006 after years of financial issues and safety concerns. One of the most famous features of the park is the iconic haunted house, one of the few remaining structures from its heyday. Are you brave enough to explore the park and immerse yourself in a world of creepy dolls, Western themes, and ghostly apparitions? Let me know in the comments.
What better reason to cancel a Disney attraction than the collapse of the Soviet Union? The Soviet Union Pavilion was a planned pavilion for Epcot's World Showcase in Walt Disney World. Alongside the gradual collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s, which led to an unstable political state in Russia, the Russian government decided not to proceed with sponsoring the pavilion at Epcot, due to economic turmoil and political changes. The concept art for the Soviet Union Pavilion showed it would have been dominated by a recreation of St. Basil's Cathedral, a famous landmark in Moscow. The central attraction was planned to be Russia, the Bells of Change, a show combining audio animatronics, movie footage, and live actors to bring the country's history to life. With a focus on folklore, another attraction wanted to be based on Ivan and the Magic Pike, an Eastern European tale. It would have been a ride-through experience, set to open alongside the pavilion.
Six Flags New Orleans, formerly known as Jazzland, was devastated by Hurricane Katrina just 1 year before its 20th anniversary. The storm caused immense damage to the amusement park, with floodwaters inundating the rides. Katrina was one of the deadliest hurricanes in American history, and several attractions were submerged in several feet of water. Nature has reclaimed the amusement park, with foliage and trees growing amidst the abandoned structures. The pathways that were once crowded with visitors are now overgrown with weeds and debris. The buildings, once vibrant and colorful, have faded and fallen into disrepair over time, leaving behind an eerie presence. Visitors venturing into the abandoned amusement park are greeted with a sense of abandonment. Graffiti and signs of vandalism are scattered throughout the premises. Despite its dilapidated state, the amusement park still holds a certain allure. Curious visitors are drawn to its creepy charm and the opportunity to witness the remnants of a forgotten era. While there have been occasional discussions and proposals for the redevelopment of the amusement park, its future remains uncertain.
Antarctica is believed to be the last undiscovered place on Earth, as it's less than 20% explored. You probably know that exploring the coldest place on the planet is far from easy. That's why it's full of mysteries. The size of Antarctica is huge, as it's 1.5 times larger than the United States, and 99% covered in ice. Interestingly, scientists have discovered many extraordinary things so far, including ancient fossils, blood-red waterfalls, and many other incredible things. But what about the less explored areas? Antarctica's extreme landscape makes it difficult to explore. Recently, NASA did uncover a mysterious hidden system of draining lakes under Antarctica. This is incredible because rivers flow under the ice. According to some scientists, Antarctica is not just an ice sheet, but a water system, connected to the whole system of the Earth. Discovery Bay, designed by Imagineer Tony Braxtor in the late 70s, was envisioned as a technological advanced city in the late 1800s San Francisco, inspired by the film The Island at the Top of the World and the works of Jules Verne. Discovery Bay would have featured attractions based on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and the island at the top of the world. The proposed land would have included several notable features and attractions, such as Professor Marvel's balloon descent, a Skyway-type experience that would connect Discovery Bay to the proposed Dumbo Circus expansion for Fantasyland. A new loading dock for the sailing ship Columbia would be built in Discovery Bay, eliminating the need for the attraction to share one with the Mark Twain riverboat in Rivers of America. There were also plans to permanently dock the ship and turn it into a restaurant. Lastly, Discovery Bay would have its own train station as part of the Disneyland Railroad.
Welcome to Yongma Land theme park in Seoul, Korea. The amusement park evokes a deep-rooted fear in its visitors. Yongma Land opened its doors in 1980, and for decades it was a popular destination for families and thrill-seekers. The park featured various attractions, including a Ferris wheel, roller coasters, and even a haunted house. However, as time went on and more modern amusement parks emerged in the city, Yongma Land lost its popularity and had to close its doors in 2011. Since then, the park has been left to the elements, with buildings and attractions slowly decaying and being overtaken by nature. It's quite an eerie feeling to walk along the paths and see the rusted attractions. The cheerful laughter of children has been replaced by a haunting silence, and all you hear is the rustling of leaves in the wind. The once vibrant attractions of the amusement park are now faded and weathered, covered in graffiti and rust. Plants and trees have grown around the attractions, their branches twisting and weaving through the metal frames, creating a post-apocalyptic landscape.
The Enchanted Snow Palace was a planned attraction for Fantasyland and Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom in the late 70s, inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen. It was mainly the brainchild of Imagineer Mark Davis. This attraction was envisioned as a musical adventure, set to the music of the Nutcracker Suite, taking visitors through the icy kingdom of the Snow Queen. The Enchanted Snow Palace was briefly discussed in the bonus feature Defrosted, Disney's journey from Hans Christian Andersen to Frozen, which was on the Frozen Blu-ray release. This feature noted the striking resemblance between Mark Davis's Snow Queen and Elsa from Frozen. The Enchanted Snow Palace is distinct from Snow White's Enchanted Wish, a separate attraction in Fantasyland at Disneyland Park. Snow White's Enchanted Wish originally opened in 1955, as Snow White and her adventures were reimagined and renamed in 2021.
Fantasy World in Lamiri, Batangas, Philippines is a fascinating place that was intended to be a magical wonderland that would enchant visitors. The theme park, often described as the Disneyland of the Philippines, is located on the island of Leyte. In the 1990s, the amusement park was a popular destination for tourists, featuring fairy tale attractions, a castle-like structure, and colorful rides that seemed to be plucked straight out of a children's fantasy book. Unfortunately, the theme park did not survive, and it's now advertised as a photo park. One of the most notable features of the abandoned amusement park is the massive castle-like building, which still proudly stands despite years of neglect. The castle is designed to resemble something out of a fairy tale, complete with towers and moats, and is said to have housed an upscale restaurant. As you wander through the amusement park, you will notice that it's not just the castle that has fallen into disrepair. The attractions and rides are now overgrown and rusting away. While discussions have emerged over the years to breathe new life into Fantasy World, including potential partnerships and redevelopment plans, the amusement park remains in limbo.
Roger Rabbit's Hollywood, also known as Maroon Studios, was a planned theme area based on Roger Rabbit and other characters from Toontown. It was intended to be part of Disney's MGM Studios, now known as Disney's Hollywood Studios. This area would have been located at the end of Sunset Boulevard, where the Rocket Roller Coaster now stands. Attractions for the studio area would have included a simulator ride through Toontown aboard a new character named Gus the Bus, a roller coaster based on the short film of the same name, and Baby Herman's Runaway Baby Buggy Ride, based on the short film Tummy Trouble. There was also Benny the Cab Ride, an attraction that eventually evolved into Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, which was built at Disneyland in 1994. Many references to Roger Rabbit can still be found in Disney's Hollywood Studios. For example, the Maroon Studios sign featuring Baby Herman, Roger, and Jessica Rabbit still stands above a gift shop at the end of Hollywood Boulevard. If you paid close attention in school, you probably know that the Earth has 4 layers: the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. But perhaps the school lessons are mistaken in this, because researchers have already discovered that the mantle actually has 2 layers, an upper mantle and a lower mantle, with the boundary at 800 kilometers depth. Thanks to a brand new special search algorithm, scientists were able to make this discovery after comparing thousands of models of our planet's interior. The data they found was incredible, and it was collected with different seismographs in many places around the world, which helped to discover the interior of the Earth. So after this research, it was confirmed that the Earth has an additional 5th layer. Disney River Country in Florida is a former water park that was very popular among families and vacationers in the 70s and 80s, but eventually closed in 2001. Once a destination for summer fun, the amusement park now lies abandoned. One of the creepiest aspects of River Country is the abandoned water slides, which still stand tall and twisted among the trees. Among them is the infamous Whoop and Holler Hollow, a massive water slide that was closed in the 90s after a number of accidents and injuries. The most notorious incident in River Country occurred in 1980, when a boy drowned in the park's upstream plunge attraction. Since then, visitors and employees have reported seeing and hearing strange things around the attraction, leading many to believe it's the ghost of the boy. The Timekeeper was an attraction in the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. It was a time travel themed show, featuring a 360-degree film projected on 9 screens. The attraction revolved around the character of the Timekeeper, an audio animatronic robot voiced by Robin Williams. The Timekeeper invents a time machine, and along with his assistant Nine-Eye, takes guests on a journey through time. The story includes visits to various historical events and famous figures, such as Jules Verne, while traveling to different periods. The Timekeeper opened in Tomorrowland in the Magic Kingdom on November 21st, 1994. It was initially a seasonal attraction and had intermittent operation before being permanently closed on February 26, 2006. Versions of the attraction also existed in other Disney parks, including Disneyland Paris, where it was known as Le Visionarium. What's your favorite Disney park and attraction? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we made, click right on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.